Well, looks like we're going to have to make this one snappy. Got some rain coming in and I might get wet. Oh dear. Yeah, the clouds are looking pretty grey as well. Well, if we get wet, we get wet. So, welcome to day 2 of our trip down through the regional park. I've just left Dobbs Weir behind me, heading south again towards, ooh, I don't know, let's see where we get to, shall we? Because this rain might slow things down a bit. We'll see. I'm not going to worry about it too much. If we get wet, we get wet. So as we come away from Dobbs Weir, we immediately come past Dobbs Weir Lock. Pretty little lock that one is as well. And it looks so much nicer from below the lock looking up at it. I think you'll agree that's not such a bad view, is it? Quite pretty. And unfortunately, just below the lock, we end up with the worst part of the trail that we're going to be on for the whole of the regional park. There's just a little bit, a couple of 100 metres here of potholes and lumps and bumps, and because of yesterday's rain they're now full of water and not much fun to ride all over, but at least the river still looks nice. You look at the river and I'll worry about the lumps and bumps.
Yeah.
So not too long on those lumps and bumps then, and then the path splits. We could carry on some more lumps and bumps down that way. I'll show you that on another ride perhaps. But basically it's a very narrow path in places, and it's got the river on one side and lakes on the other. And other than the river and the lakes, there's not too much to show you down that way. But as I say, I'll show you it on a ride along video. Meanwhile, the National Cycle Route number 1 comes away from the river now for the next probably 3 or 4 miles and goes through some lovely wetlands where there's lakes and rivers and weirs and waterworks and all sorts, but we'll go along this way and I'll show you, we'll have a look. But it also goes through some rather nice farmland. So the first thing that we come to when we get away from the river on one of these lakes, I think it's Hollyfield Lake, is a sailing club and windsurf school. So that's another one of the sports that we have along the regional park. There we go, Broxbourne Sailing Club. I didn't know the name of it till I just saw the sign, so there we go. So now, having come away from the river, despite still being in the Lea Valley Regional Authority area, we're now in the Lea Valley Country Park. And the country park is 6,000 acres of woodlands, waterways, lakes and farmland. And it's still all managed by the Lea Valley Authority and still accessible and open to the public and covered in all these trails. As you can see, the #1 cycle route is signposted quite well throughout. So it's actually nice to be away from the canal for a little while as well, just for the width of this road. As I said, the canal path is very narrow after Nazing through until you get to Broxbourne. It's still cyclable, and as you'll see from the trike along that I did a couple of days ago, when I get to post that up, I did actually trike along it with no problems at all. But we still have one or two of these. They're not too bad though. I can normally get through these without even getting off the trike. Like so. Busy road to cross. But we do have some lights, thank goodness. So many puddles! Oh, it did rain yesterday. It rained and it rained. But we needed it. You've seen how dry it's been throughout April. So having crossed Nazing Road into this very, very pretty piece of woodland, the next large lake that we'll see on our right hand side is Hollyfield Water. I think it's Hollyfield Water or Hollyfield Lake. I'll put that on the screen. There's a few cars here. This would normally be rammed though. I suppose the weather's not helping. Or should I say, perhaps the weather is helping, it's keeping people away. And now we start probably a 2-mile incline. It's not that far as the crow flies, but on a bike the path winds backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. We've got some little hairpins, but if I need it I'll use the e-assist. I'm now sitting on what's called Clayton Hill. It really is a lovely view. Birds sound quite nice too. Right, time to make a move. And of course, when you've reached the top of the hill, all you can really do is go down, isn't it? So as I said, much of this is open farmland, and it's farmed by Hollyfield Hall Farm and the Lea Valley Farm Park. And Lea Valley Farm Park is almost like a zoo. It's got a kids petting area, and they open up to the public so that you can go in and see a working farm in action. And again, unfortunately, it's all closed at the moment. I'm going to suffer from hay fever later, I think. I can already feel it getting in my nose. There's May blossom open all over the place, and it's really smelly. It's not a particularly nice smell. Well, I don't like it anyhow. But there's lots of it open along here at the moment. And after that lovely run downhill, we come to the entrance to Hollyfield Hall Farm, which is closed to the public anyhow. It's not a public farm. There's two farms here, and this one is not open to the public. It's just a normal working dairy cow farm. And that's what all those signs say on the gates there, not open to the public, with about half a dozen signs pointing which way the national cycle route goes. I guess they get fed up with people keep going in. And there's a lovely carp pond here. We'll probably see some of the fish on the top. Indeed you can. They're swirling around. They've just heard me pulling up alongside the bank and they're waiting to be fed. So for your own safety, please do not sit in this area. I guess that's to do with the virus. Don't know. Very pretty Egyptian goose. But this is a fishing pond normally, or actually I think this one's a stock pond. But we're in closed season at the moment anyhow. This is an on-growing stock pond apparently. But yeah, it's closed season for fishing at the moment, March to June. correct me if my dates are wrong, but I think the close season is March 15th till June 6th. The first few spots of rain. Apologies if we get water on the lens. Yeah, I think I'm going to get a little bit wet on the end of this ride, but we'll see. Not far to go now anyhow. I'm going to go as far as the Whitewater Center, and that'll do. Oh, look at that, a spot of water on the lens. I knew it would happen. Right, I'm going to put this camera away for a minute because it's not waterproof. So we'll try the microphone out on this one. This is the Insta360 mic. I'm not too impressed with it, but it'll have to do in this rain. And yes, it is raining on me now, quite heavily. But basically, once we're past the park farm, we're heading back towards the river now, and back towards the canal. And this is all just open marshland and woodland. As always, open with footpaths for the public. hopefully the lens hasn't got any water on it. I did wipe it off. Yeah, it started raining. Don't know whether you can see that, but so the last couple of miles of today's trip I've just done using the Insta360, so at least you got to see it. What I'll do at the beginning of the next instalment on part 3, I'll go back and show you 1 or 2 bits that I've just cycled straight past, so you won't miss out on anything. But for today we're going to finish here at the Whitewater Center, which you can see the gates are closed. Everything's closed, unfortunately, but maybe we'll come back once it opens after lockdown. We'll come back and have a look, because you can cycle all the way around it, I believe, and there's a cafe in there as well, so that'd be nice. Just over my shoulder there, where that runner's now going, there's also some disc golf. I've never played disc golf before. I think I'd like to give it a go sometime. But that's free to use, disc golf over the back there, as well as lots more parkland and pathways. So as I say, beginning of part 3, I might well go off that way and just show you 1 or 2 little bits around the back there. But that's it for today, guys. That's Dobbs Weir to the Whitewater Center. So we're going to call this one Weir to Whitewater. So I hope you enjoyed today's vlog. If you did, please don't forget to tick that little thumbs up underneath. I'd be most grateful. Thanks for that. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Cheers then, guys. Ta-da. I'm getting wet. Ew. Time to go home.